A house I showed last week had been under contract 4 times. 4 different buyers, 4 accepted offers. 4 people who walked through, loved it enough to put an offer in, and then walked away. And when I finally walked it myself this week, what I found was not what anyone had expected. Because here's the thing nobody tells you. When a house keeps falling out of contract, it is never random. 1 fall through is a fluke. 4 is a pattern. 4 is the house screaming something at you. So most buyers do the worst possible thing. They see a home that is back on the market again, they panic, they assume something is terribly wrong with the house or it's falling apart, and they skip it altogether. They don't go look at it. Sometimes that instinct saves them, but sometimes, and this is a part that'll cost you, that exact house everyone keeps running from is the single best deal on the market, sitting wide open because everyone else got scared. Here's how you tell the difference. When a house keeps bouncing back, it is always one of 3 things. It's either the house, the listing agent, or it's the seller. And figuring out which one of those decides whether you run from it or you maybe run toward it. And the house I looked at last week that went under contract 4 times, guess what? It wasn't the house, it wasn't the roof, it wasn't the foundation, it wasn't some catastrophic thing that an inspector found. It was something so strange, I'll tell you about it at the end, because once you hear what was actually going on at the house, you may never look at these houses that come back on the market the same way again. So don't write them off so quickly. The first possibility, and this is going to be the obvious one, is the house itself. This is the one everybody assumes, and sometimes they're right. A buyer gets the home under contract and they get their inspection done. And the inspector finds something real. A foundation problem, a roof at the end of its life, old systems, maybe there's water in the crawl space, something underneath that the photos didn't show. The buyer gets scared and they walk away. Here's how to tell if it's the house. You look at the inspection if you can. When a home has been under contract before, you can ask whether there have been any past inspection reports, and if they have a copy, you ask if they would mind sharing that with you. Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't, sometimes they have a copy, sometimes they don't, but it's worth asking. But either way, you get your own inspection too. If 2 or 3 different buyers all walked after their inspections and they walked for the same reason, that's the house talking. Believe it. But, and this is the part people miss, a real specific, fixable problem isn't always a reason to run. Sometimes it's a reason to negotiate. If the house keeps falling out because of a $10,000 repair that scares off skittish buyers, and you're not skittish, that's leverage. And the second possibility, and this is not going to be a popular one, and it's the one that nobody talks about, but I see it all the time. It could be the listing agent. Sometimes the house is fine and the seller is fine, and the deals keep dying because the listing is being handled badly. Maybe the agent priced it wrong, so it keeps attracting offers that fall apart when reality sets in. Maybe that listing agent, they're hard to reach, they're slow to respond, and the deal stalls out or dies from neglect. Maybe they're handling the negotiations so poorly that the buyer gets frustrated and walks. A deal staying together takes real work and real communication from all parties. And when the person running it isn't doing that job, good deals fall apart for no good reason. So, how do you tell if it's the agent? Honestly, this is where having your own good agent matters most. A good agent can fill this out within a couple of phone calls, whether the other side is organized and responsive or whether the whole thing is just being held together with tape. And if it's just a bad listing on a good house, That's not a problem for you to fear. That's an opening. And honestly, that is something, if you've hired a good agent, that they can navigate. Listen, I work with bad agents all the time, but somehow, some way we get through them. The third possibility could be it's the seller. And this is the most overlooked and sometimes the strangest thing, but it happens. Sometimes the house is great and the agent is great, and there's just something about the seller themselves that keeps killing their own deals. Maybe they're unrealistic on price and maybe won't budge an inch when an inspection comes back. Maybe they get emotional and combative the second anyone asks for any sort of repair. Maybe they keep trying to change the terms mid-contract on somebody. Or maybe, and this happens more than you think, there's just something about the situation that makes buyers feel uneasy and they can't quite put their thumb on it, but they just talk themselves out of making any sort of offer. So how do you tell if it's the seller? You pay attention to the feeling and you pay attention to the friction. If every deal dies during negotiation rather than during the inspection, that points at the seller, not the house. Which brings me back to the house I showed last week. 4 times under contract, 4 buyers backed out. So I went in expecting to find something terrible, a wrecked foundation or a roof caving in. I was fully expecting it to be the house. It wasn't the house. The house was actually pretty good. It was the seller. I walk in and there are cameras. But when I say cameras, I'm talking cameras everywhere in every single room of that house. And not just watching the rooms, there were cameras inside, pointed outside of the windows, watching the yard, watching the street. And then there were the dogs. I'm not kidding. There were no fewer than probably 7 or 8 dogs, all in crates throughout the house. And nothing about it, it was not technically a defect, but you can't put felt weird on an inspection report. But I'm telling you, you walked into that house and your whole body just tenses up. It doesn't feel like a home that you could relax in. It feels like you're being watched, well, because you are. And I'm not just saying it. If a house has that many cameras in it, that seller is paranoid. And I guarantee you, she was not going to be easy to deal with. That kind of thing shows up in every negotiation, every repair request, and every back and forth. When a home keeps coming back on the market, don't panic and don't assume the worst. Just get curious. Ask the one question that matters. Is it the house? Is it the agent? Or is it the seller? If it's the house and it's a real structural problem with no upside, 100% walk. If it's the house, but it's a fixable something, just negotiate it. That's leverage. If it's the agent or the seller, the home itself might be perfectly fine. And just waiting for a buyer and a buyer's agent calm enough to see it. The buyers who understand this get homes that other people were too scared to fight for. And honestly, you get a much better deal. And hey, if you like this video, then go check out this next one. This is 10 deal breakers found in inspection reports, just in case it was the house. I see you over there.